Hey, welcome to my shop. So my name's Lucy and I like to build things and I really love working on my shop and I love dust collection. So today I want to talk to you about my system. I've been recently upgrading it, was able to add some automation, and I did my whole system out of this hand core 4-inch, kind of like PVC pipe, but a little bit lighter. It's less expensive and it's lighter weight, and sure, 5 or 6 inch pipe right off the dust collector would be better than 4-inch, but this fit my budget and it works really, really well, especially now that I have the automated system so that only one blast gate's ever open at a time. So there's more than enough suction. All right, let me show you my system. All right, so like a lot of people, I have this setup that did have a Harbor Freight motor up here. I recently upgraded this. It's actually like a Kufo, some brand I'd never heard of, but it's a 2 horsepower, same as the Harbor Freight, but the impeller's a lot bigger and it does have a lot more suction. So I got it for next to nothing, probably because it's a brand nobody's heard of, but it seems to be working really, really well. I still have the other motor if I need. And then off into one of these big filters, and I'll put a link into the description of that, and then to a big steel drum. Now, ideally, I would actually probably do like a 30-gallon steel drum instead of a 60 because this is a little challenging to empty, and the light system saves me from ever clogging up my filter, which has been really great. And I'll put a link in the description to a video that I did of how I wired that up. It's just kind of a make-your-own kind of sensor, and it's very, very effective. All right, notice this yellow blast gate right there? That's new. That's gonna actually be for my miter saw. And since it's automated, I was able to get it away from the miter saw, which is wonderful. Let me show you.
So here's a demo before I put the blast gate into its place. So you turn the saw on, then you'll hear the dust collector go, and then you make your cut. When you're done making your cut, the blast gate is going to close again, and then the dust collector is going to keep running for the specified time that you set it for.
All right, so by moving that blast gate over there, I was able to get rid of the convoluted system that I had coming out here and down and in because I had to be able to access the blast gate. And I was actually able to streamline the pipes and move them straight in to the miter station. Okay, so this pipe runs down here and into this big 4-inch port. And then I was able to streamline and get a much less bendy pipe here right to the saw. So most of it now actually gets sucked up directly from the saw, but anything else either ends up going down, or if there's a little bit of mess in here, I can just brush it down. So here I can show you cutting a board. A 3-tool system, I chose my miter saw, mostly so that I could get the blast gate away from there, my table saw, and my jointer. Now the planer seems like an obvious spot, and I probably will add one at some point, but I also have the remote control and it's right next to the dust collector. The other reason why I didn't select my planer is because I never plane a board without the dust collection on, because you instantly regret it. Where I frequently will make a cut or two at the miter saw or even the table saw, or even run a board through the jointer without turning it on, if, you know, instead of walking all the way over here to do that. So this saves me from myself. Again, this one I'm just not going to do that. The super cool thing that I wasn't certain about with this system, because it always leaves one blast gate open, which is great, is that when you use the remote control, it does close all of the blast gates so that you can have the blast gate that you're using from the remote control as the only one. So I was really happy that it is, you know, really smart enough to do that too. All right, so this tube can expand to 21 feet, so that's obviously overkill for this. But I put this here because it has the same connection to use the accessories for my dust cart, so I can run the big 4-inch stand-up vacuum from this side of the shop, or the accessory for cleaning off the tool bench and stuff. So between the two of them, I can get to every inch of the shop really, really easily. All right, for my drill press, this hose that, you know, stays in place works really well when I move the table up and down. Have a blast gate here, and then a blast gate to also open to run to the sanders, and then I just decided to keep it simple, and when the sanders are going, that just sucks this in to block that off as well. That way I was able to not have to do an extra Y in there. That extra tube comes here to either the disc sander or the spindle sander. Okay, so when we look at the ceiling here, this we have a big run that goes over to the miter station, obviously over to all these tools, and then one that's going to drop down here, and this one is going to provide the dust collection for the table saw, the jointer, and the router table. So the table saw is on an automated blast gate right off the table saw. The jointer, so table saw, jointer, and router table. The jointer is going to be that yellow automated gate here, and then just a regular gate for the router table. So of note, notice all of the cords. So again, for the automated system, you're going to be adding 2 outlets per tool. So I did have to add an extra bank of outlets here. I ran an entire extra 20 amp circuit to the side over by the dust collector and ran a bunch of outlets off of that. So I did have to do some electrical work before even starting. So that's something that you do want to consider if you're looking to automate your system. So in addition to the outlets that you have to add for each tool, so 2 additional outlets for each tool, I did have to get a contactor since I'm running a 2 horsepower unit on it. The switch just wouldn't last very long without it. So this is basically a really big relay, and will actually let you run up to a 10 horsepower unit off of the system, which is really amazing. I was a little bit confused when I was wiring this, so just so that it's crystal clear to you, the cord, so you're making an extra outlet. So you're building an outlet to put your dust collector to, unless you want to hardwire the dust collector in, but I certainly didn't want to mess with my plug. And then the cord here that it came with is going to go into the switch, and then a cord that you're going to build yourself is going to go back into the contactor. And I just took actually a power strip, broke down to use for that one.
So the reason why there's 2 extra outlets needed is because one is going to go to the sensor, and you just attach that right to the power cord of the tool that you're using, and then one is going to actually go to the blast gate.
All right, so this dust cart that I was talking about also has the red light, green light system that I wired myself, and I do have those instructions on the video for this, but it has a 20-gallon drum underneath here, the Super Dust Deputy, big filter in the back, and this is amazing. I couldn't have these black mats if it weren't for having this system. That vacuum works really great, and then I'm also able to use that as the dust collection here for the bandsaw. So that was a great upgrade this year that I'm really excited about. All right, so this is my dust collection system. If you have any tips for me, please leave comments. I'm always trying to make it better. Right now, I'm thrilled with the suction that I have. Everything's going great with it. So I hope that you have fun building your dust collection system, and it makes life so much better.